Match 5. We're currently 2-2. Can we make the 3-2 here, get our league value back, or will we be left with a 2-3 record and only 50 play points, half of a league value? Don't want to lose value. That's never a good idea on this channel. But you know what? If it happens, so be it. I will still post it. It is useful for your eyes and for my eyes and for the experience and the fun of it. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the match. All right, we have our match. Let's jump on in here. Play some land drops, you know. On the draw again? Sad. Playing against somebody with a goblin in their username art here, or whatever you call that. I don't know what it's called. But, does that mean they're playing goblins just like last round? Who knows? We will see. Their name is Monkey. A pretty nice name, not gonna lie. Interesting hand. So this hand looks like it's just ramping into Titan the old-fashioned way here. Turn 1 tap land, turn 2 tangled, turn 3 tangled. I mean, I'm into it, though. If our opponent is playing removal spells, then they will waste them all on these creatures while we continue to make our natural land drops, and maybe that'll mean that our Dryad will stick in play. And that's a lot of Street Wraiths. We're playing against Shadow again. Well, Tangled is not particularly great against Shadow. It's probably just going to be played as a land, in all honesty. We get the classic Bala Ged to get back our Titan if they decide to Thoughtseize that one away. So, already getting some value from this card here. It might be worth it to try to play out this Bala Ged as fast as possible so we don't lose the Bala Ged itself to an Inquisition. Definitely worth considering. I'm going to lead on Tolaria West here so we can shock Breeding Pool and have Tolaria West Transmute mana potentially available if they are able to get rid of our recovery as well. So Garenbrig is not bad at all. We'll pass it back here, planning to play our creature on turn 2. Don't mind us, we're just playing 2 mana Llanowar Elves. No big deal. No big deal. To be honest, it's probably going to be a bit slow against our opponent's threat here. It's probably a Shadow or a Delve Spell, or nothing. That's cool too. Well, we're definitely throwing out a Florahedron here. We've got plenty of lands ready to go, so it might make sense not to play the second one in case they have removal spells for these guys, so we'll have guaranteed Titan mana in play, and this also represents an additional green source. They're going to kill the Tangled here, so I'm fine trading 1 for 1. That's cool with me, I guess. And Azusa would be a great top deck here, so we can play Castle, Azusa, Valakut, Entangled as a land, and be able to have Titan this upcoming turn, and if they have the answer for our Titan, or if they discard it, we can Bala Ged to get back the Titan, so... Well, in the absence of that, I suppose we're playing our Tangled, concealing the fact that we have a Garenbrig here so that our opponent does not know that we have access to Titan mana this upcoming turn if they don't answer our little innocuous creature here. And they do. Again, fine. Doesn't bother me. These fatal pushes could have been pointed at our Dryad, and the fact that they're not makes me happy. There's a Mammoth. Do we want to play that one out as a creature? I mean, I don't see why not. We're going to have Titan mana this upcoming turn, so... Interesting. And we could also just Recovery back Primeval Titan here, and play out our Garenbrig, so that our opponent cannot stop us from having Titan. I guess that's going to be better. They're probably holding up a Stubborn Denial here, though. I have to imagine there's a Stubborn Denial lying in the weights. We could play... We don't really have a whole lot of choice here. I guess if we go for the Recovery and they counter it, and then they discard a Titan, then we don't really have a backup plan, so... Let's go for the Mammoth, I suppose. Yeah, I'm pretty okay with this. We can actually clock them pretty hard with this Mammoth, too, considering it'll be swinging for 7 this upcoming turn, thanks to our Windswept Teeth. That's rather interesting. We can also use it to just block this Garmag Angler, potentially even trade with it, if we are able to fetch during their turn, perhaps. We'll see. Could also have played the Balagad here as a tap land, so we could reserve our Garenbrig as an untap land and not have to use our Windswept Heath this upcoming turn if we want to play Titan. I don't know, though. I think we had many options here, and all of them are equally good. I'm not willing to absorb 5 damage here with our Mammoth. I think it can do a little more than that. Don't know if I want to attack with it, though. Amulet, not really doing a whole lot here, in all honesty. Okay, let's play our Heath. And yield to this. Actually, we're going to be attacking them for lethal with this Mammoth, thanks to the lands coming into play from our Titan. So if they don't have an answer to this Mammoth, they just lose. So there's that. That is just the dumbest, isn't it? That's fine. Not worried about it. No reason to fetch in response. We're getting a Titan into play. You can use all of your removal spells and all of our inconsequential creatures. We'll just get Titan into play and, do the thing where we just win with it. Seems good to me. And if you answer this Titan, we have a recovery to get back another Titan. So you have to be able to answer this Titan while also holding up Stubborn Denial. So this game feels pretty in the bag. And we have a TOS in place, so we can get Bounce Land plus Field here. Heck yeah. I like that. So here's Field. And here's Blue Bounce Land. Definitely stacking the Growth Chamber first here, so that we'll have all of our lands in play when these field triggers resolve. We can pick up our TOS, be able to transmute it, or we can just Balagad Recovery back a Titan. And yeah, we're looking pretty good here, so pass it back. Flame to dust our Windswept Heath. Love to see it. Mishra's Bauble. You got it. We will definitely be blocking this Gurmag Angler and playing around Temur Battle Rage if at all possible. TBR wouldn't even kill us here, but alright, that is game. Let's go to game 2. We want Baloth, I think. We want Explosives for Shadows. I'm not sure if we want Dismember. I guess we do for the Gurmags, but maybe not all 3. Let's bring in 2. Relic seems alright. I guess Relic is fine. It lets us crack something at their instep, so we can top deck a Titan, untap, and then play it. It does play into K-Command, unfortunately, though. I don't know. We'll try the Relics. Get rid of this Pact. Get rid of this Ghost Quarter. Get rid of this Radiant Fountain. Get rid of these Tangleds. I don't know. I'm not in love with them. They did some work there, but yeah. Let's drop them. Nah, actually, they also represent lands for us, so let's get rid of the Grazers instead. Oh, and that's pretty clean sideboarding. We could side out a Summoner's Pact, considering if they do have discard spells, we can just recovery to get back our Titan, and we don't need to top deck a bunch of additional packs. That could let us play around a potential Ashiok. What would we bring in, though? Nah. Well, we could bring in Beast Withins. Nah. We have creatures to pressure Ashiok if they have it. So, and they may not even have it. And if they do have it, they may not even draw it. So, we have explosives to deal with it. We can attack it with Mammoths or ping it down with Florahedrons if we want to. We'll figure it out. We could actually side out Amulets in this matchup. That's not a terrible idea. Interesting. We could bring in a couple of the Grazers and the Beast Withins and get rid of these Amulets, and that's not the worst. Oh, wait, we want Veil of Summer for sure. Get rid of an Amulet, a couple Amulets here, and submit, just so we know we'll have these Veils. I don't know why I was not going to be bringing those in. Would I rather have Grazer or Amulet? I think I'd rather have Grazer, actually. Well, we'll make that change for Game 3. Well. Huh. This hand's not fantastic, but it has several green sources here, despite the fact it doesn't look like it. We'll keep it. And just naturally having the Bajuka Bog here is good against a potential Gurmag Angler, so they're going to see their Dismember and know they have to play around it when they play out their Shadow, but that might still be worth something. Like, it may stop them from chipping us for a couple points of damage in the early game. So, I guess that's probably fine. And we can always just play out a Florahedron if we draw a green source, so something to play Amulet on one would be pretty good here. Like a basic forest, or even just any untapped land. I think we sided out a lot of our colorless ones, like Ghost Quarter and Radiant Fountain, so there's some argument to keeping in Ghost Quarter against them to potentially cut them off of Temur Battle Rage mana, but you know what? It's fine. The likelihood that they'll just have another fetch land and be able to fetch up a red source is pretty high, so take our Amulet. Not terribly surprised here. See what we can get off the top here. Summoner's Pact. Okay, well, let's play our Mammoth, I suppose, as a green source, so we can potentially Tangled on turn 2. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know how good a turn 2 Florahedron will be good. Did I just say I don't know how good it will be good? I don't know exactly how good that will be, considering they can just Fatal Push it. But, I mean, I'd rather them push the Florahedron than this creature, since this is much more mana investment. So the question is, do we go for the turn 2 Florahedron, or do we go for the turn 2 Dryad? If our Florahedron survives, then we're guaranteed to cast Dryad this upcoming turn. If it doesn't, though, nah. Let's bog them. This also lets us hold up Dismember, and it'll stop them from potentially playing a Tasigur or an Angler if they draw one. Thought Scour. Well, I guess it's not stopping them from playing a Tasigur or an Angler. Interesting. It's feeling more and more like this Florahedron will just be played as a green source. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Second Dismember is actually not the worst. Believe it or not. Right, let's get this Dryad out. And I'm actually going to go ahead and play this as a land, so they can't discard spell to take our Florahedron. It's way more important to get towards Titan mana here, I think. So, like, if they want to discard a Summoner's Pact, we could just top deck another Titan, but I mean, maybe we're more likely to top deck more lands anyways. Maybe that's a mistake, but we'll see. Not killing our Dryad is interesting. Talari West is very interesting. T-West for a bounce land, maybe? Weird. We're definitely playing out the Valakut for sure. The question is, are we playing the Talari West? And I think we're... I don't know. It's actually kind of hard, because if they have a Stubborn Denial plus a creature here to back it up, I guess we can kill whatever creature they have out, so we don't need to worry about that as long as we can pay 1 for the pact. So let's just, I guess the only thing we're really worried about is discard spell here. Tough. We can transmute for bounce land and then use the bounce land trigger to pick up our creature here, so we have another way to clock them if they do have a discard spell. And we also get a couple Valakut triggers. That is not the worst. And we have a lot of room here, since our Dismembers let us clear up their board. So, although I guess doing this is gonna make their Shadow much better. Really awkward, actually. Let's transmute, I think. Yeah, let's transmute. And we'll get a Growth Chamber, I think. I think this is fine. Upstairs. Take the damage. Take it. I guess we can't hold up Dismember now here, but that's fine. We're fine. Alright, we'll pass it back, and I will be clocking with the Dryad here, I think. It's probably worth it. We have Titan mana and a Titan ready to go, unless they have an answer for it. I guess we don't want to yield here in case they have an Inquisition. Okay. They could Stubborn Denial us. What does that do? Right now, their Stubborn Denial would only counter our pact if we don't pay the 1. And if they do cycle a Street Wraith, we can dismember the Shadow. I guess twice. We're really awkward here. We can also Mammoth as a land. Let's weird. I get the feel that they have a Stubborn Denial, and that's really awkward here because if they cast it on a Summoner's Pact, even if we just pay the 1, we can't cast a Titan this turn, and that's pretty bad for us. I guess we lead on the Summoner's Pact. Our Tangled Veil letting us play around Damping Sphere here as well, so. Okay, it happens. Yeah, let's get Titan and cast it. If our opponent has Dismember, then we can use our Field of the Dead tokens to not die to Temur Battle Rage and be pretty good. So here we want a Vesuva and a Tolaria West, I suppose. I know I just said something about Field of the Dead, but we'll copy this bounce land. They have to have Dismember or they're dead to our Dryad anyways, and Tolaria West gives us an additional out to Titan here. Let's just kill the Shadow. I'm all over the place right now, everybody. I apologize. Okay, so all of that worked out just fine. Let's pick up the Vesuva. Copy Valakut, perhaps, or maybe we just don't do anything with it. Let's play it as a Growth Chamber instead. Get our extra 1 Valakut trigger out of it while we can. Swing for 2, and our opponent has a lot of work to do, so. We have an additional land drop here. Our opponent is just dead. So, yeah. That was interesting. Okay. Well, don't know how I stumbled into winning that game like I did, but you know what? I'll take it. We ended up 3-2, and definitely against Grixis Death Shadow, we saw these creature / spell lands coming into play very heavily. The fact that they are able to represent a potential threat or an additional land drop in many different scenarios is very relevant. And again, also in many different reasons, like just having a Florahedron as a way to try to ramp and force our opponent to answer it with Fatal Push and stuff feels quite great. But if we know that we can't take that risk and we don't have the land drops, we just keep it and play as it a land. And it's always going to be the better of the 2 cards for us against them. So definitely feels like a good shell to be playing against Death Shadow. So let me know if you feel similarly, and let me know what changes you think should be made to this list, because to be honest, I still have no clue. I will say, of all the cards that we are playing from the new set, I actually think that the Mammoth is the weakest of them. It does serve as a really good threat against Ashiok, but, I mean, it doesn't do much else. It's not very relevant against the fast aggro decks, because against Burn, we have plenty of blockers. We just want to get to Titan, and Mammoth doesn't really serve a huge purpose there. Even as an additional land, like, we have plenty of redundant mana sources, so. Although I guess it might be better than Florahedron against Burn specifically due to Searing Blades, but anyways, I don't know. I like Florahedron. I definitely like Ball Again Recovery. In my opinion, this is the best of these flip cards that I've been trying so far for our deck. We even saw our opponent having to take one with a Thoughtseize before, which was quite fantastic, I must say. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about the list. What do you think about the new mechanic? Is it something that we should stick with? How would you make any changes? Or have you been playing with the new flip cards? What about that new 7 mana one? Let me see if I can pull it up. 1 second. All right, so I have found the card that I was talking about. Turntimber Symbiosis. This is one that F. Paulus has been talking about. I've seen it referenced in regards to Amulet quite a bit here, and well, let's just take a look at it real quick. It's 7 mana sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a creature from among them on the battlefield. If the creature costs a 3 or less, it gets an additional plus counter, and the rest of the cards go on the bottom. So you pay 7 mana to look at the top 7 cards, hopefully put a Titan into play. But if not, there's a couple fail cases. You can get a Dryad or something. And of course, the backside is just a land that is a turn 1 green source for Grazer or Soccer Tribe Scout if you still play that card, or Amulet. So it doesn't have the downside that the Balaged Recovery and whatnot doesn't have that same downside where the land enters tapped at all times. But I don't know. I can't say I'm a huge fan of this card. I have never tested it, but again, I may get proven wrong. If some lists start to perform well with it, then I will be eating my own words, of course. But call me crazy. I'm just not super impressed by this one. It's also like 10 or 11 tickets, I think, on Magic Online, unless something has changed. And the cards I picked up were less than 5 tickets for the playset of all of them. Even the Mammoths being foil and non-foil. Of course, the reason I have the foil ones is because they are actually cheaper than the non-foil ones by a decent margin. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think. What is the best flip card for this deck? In fact, there's a blue flip card that's a 3 mana copy a creature type effect. It's a 3 mana clone. So you can, if you were able to search it up with Titan, which you can't, sadly, but you'd be able to get like a blue bounce land and that creature into play as a land, pick them up, and then be able to play it as a copy of Titan, and that would be freaking insane. So it's a good thing, I guess, that didn't work out, although it's kind of sad for us, because that would have been cool if it did. But that one, despite the fact that it taps for green, which is a lot less relevant than tapping for blue, I mean. It taps for blue, which is a lot less relevant than tapping for green like our Florahedrons and Mammoths and Recoveries do, since they are able to pay for the mana for our Castle Garenbrig activation, which we saw come up several times throughout the league here. I don't know. It still could be relevant. Maybe that's one that we should try. Let me know what you think for this list. Should I continue playing it moving forward? Anyways, that is way too much talking. I mean, I know it's a new list and there's a lot to talk about, but regardless, I will see you guys for the next league. This is Redface Menace, signing off.